Now, one thing you might not know about me, I used to be a CIA assassin and I'm wanted for murder in 6 countries, is that I've always had a soft spot for classic war movies. And truly, it's tough to think of a more classic movie than Where Eagles Dare, the 1968 action thriller starring Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton as a pair of undercover operatives sent into World War II Germany to rescue a captured American general. This film is just awesome from beginning to end. The explosive action scenes, the death-defying stunts, the all-star cast, the twisting and turning storyline, all of it blends together seamlessly to create one of my favourite World War II movies ever. And it's about damn time that I talked about it. So gear up, dear viewer, as we venture Where Eagles Dare. The movie begins in the winter of 1943 with a Special Forces team parachuting into the Austrian Alps. Why? Because a US Army general got shot down over France and captured by the Germans. This is bad news for the Allies because this guy knows the plans for the Normandy invasion, and if the Germans manage to get the information out of him, it'll cause the whole operation to fail. Now he's being held in a heavily defended and virtually impregnable castle high on a mountaintop that can only be accessed by cable car. Damn, this is like a Metal Gear Solid storyline, only without the weird homoerotic undertones. Anyway, the team's objective is to find a way inside the castle, rescue the general before he spills the beans, and get the fuck out of there. It sounds simple enough. The problem is that it soon becomes obvious that someone on the team is working against them. Operatives start turning up dead, and the whole mission almost gets blown when the group are discovered and captured. But that's okay, because when you've got Richard Burton and Clint Eastwood on your team, you're probably gonna get through it. As the depleted team infiltrate the castle with a little help from an inside man, or woman in this case, the action culminates in a dramatic confrontation where the traitors are unmasked and the true purpose of the mission is revealed. Then there's just the small matter of escaping with half the German army on their tail. Now, I won't spoil the ending because honestly, I want people to experience it for themselves. But I will say that nobody in this film is quite what they appear. There's all kinds of hidden agendas, secret identities and double crosses at play, but hats off to the writers here for managing to balance it all out. The storyline keeps you guessing right until the final scene, but it never gives you so much to deal with that you lose the thread of what's happening. In fact, the writing here is so fucking slick and efficient, it actually makes me despair for the state of modern cinema. Seriously, there are literal dumpsters worth of so-called thrillers today that would kill for writing this good, and it doesn't hurt that it's performed by some of the best actors of their generation. Richard Burton was almost as famous for his drinking as he was for his acting, and at one point during the production, he disappeared on an epic bender for several days with Peter O'Toole and Richard Harris. Nobody knew where the fuck he was, what he was doing, or whether he was even gonna come back. Meanwhile, Clint Eastwood used his downtime to indulge his favourite hobby of high-speed motorbike racing, even though he was ordered not to in case he got injured or killed. Zero fucks were given by these guys, and I love it. As a little side note here, I'd like to point out that the cast also includes not one, but 2 ass-kicking women. One's an undercover operative in the castle posing as a German civilian, and the other is a secret addition to the team that only Richard Burton knows about. Both of them are smart, tough and resourceful, and just as capable of fighting and killing as their male counterparts. Because believe it or not, strong women actually existed in movies before 2016. I know, I was just as shocked as you. Where Eagles Dare walks the sometimes difficult line between slow-burning spy thriller and explosive war flick, but it does it so competently that neither aspect overshadows the other. The script always seems to know just the right time to drop in a good action sequence to keep the pace up, but they never get so intrusive that you lose sight of what's at stake. And damn, some of them are genuinely impressive even today. Where else are you going to see Clint Eastwood dual-wielding submachine guns to fend off an entire platoon of German soldiers? Naturally, most of the stunts and set pieces were done with practical effects, and I can't tell you how satisfying it is to watch real vehicles crash and explode, and real pyrotechnics going off, instead of some ridiculous overblown computer effect that doesn't have an ounce of weight behind it. Some of the stunts were genuinely death-defying as well. Richard Burton's stunt double actually lost several teeth when he leapt from one cable car to another. The cinematography and soundtrack are pitch perfect as well. Most of the movie was filmed in the Austrian Alps, so the scenery is fucking spectacular. There's a real heavy, ominous atmosphere to this film that I really appreciate. It's always gloomy and overcast, and the snow hardly ever lets up. It's the perfect backdrop to a movie centered around spying, espionage, and paranoia, and in some ways it has almost a Cold War feel to it. You could totally imagine this same plot going down in some Soviet fortress in Siberia. The point here is that Where Eagles Dare is a smart, tightly paced, and brilliantly written thriller, punctuated by great action sequences and top-notch performances from some of the best actors of their generation. And in a lot of ways, it feels like a movie that was kind of ahead of its time. So if you want to dip your toes into classic war movies, I can't think of a better place for you to start. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.